welcome back to another episode of Coast Football Weekly. This week's guest has been in the centre of action as a referee for over 30 years, spending 15 years as an NPL referee in Sydney, and is also heavily involved in developing our referees here on the Central Coast. Thanks for joining us and welcome to the pod, Danny Horstead.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you first started refereeing at age 14, I believe, which is now 30 years ago. What made you first want to become a referee?
I played a couple of years. I played under 12s and then we got moved to 14s, but I was in a team that wasn't going to stay together after that. We lost everything. Didn't really sort of gel with playing. And then someone mentioned a refereeing course and that. So then I still liked the idea of football and that. So I wanted to be involved. And yeah, I went and did the referees course, failed it, had to do it again. And then, yeah, that's what got me into it. Yeah.
And do you remember back to what your first ever game was like?
Yeah, it was an under-9s Division 7. I started down at the old Gladesville Hornsby, northwest Sydney now, and I remember just crapping my dacks. I'm going out and doing this under-9s game, but they sent out like a senior referee to watch you, and we got through it perfectly fine. But yeah, all of a sudden you're in the front of all these mums and dads and kids and stuff. It was very different as opposed to being on the field with your parents cheering you on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And how do you sort of progress to where you are now? What has that journey been like?
Through the system I came through was pretty long and slow back then. You had to come up 4 levels of refereeing, which involved theory courses and field tests at different levels.
Yep.
And then I was lucky enough, I got to go to some state titles and national titles back then where your branch nominated you to go. And then eventually got myself up to being what we call a level 1 referee, which has to have field tests to be ticked off and theory requirements ticked off. And then, getting lucky enough to be in the top panel on the NPL and Football New South Wales.
Quite a long process.
It took me quite a while back then. We had even just the level 1 level of the 4 is a 2-year process on its own from doing a theory course to getting it finished.
And what age did you think this is something I can sort of go on and do at a high level?
I was really engrossed in it in those early years, especially when I got to state titles. And the next year I got to go to the nationals. So all of a sudden I was at this tournament in Canberra with the head of referees, and we were given tracksuits and all the going, this is pretty cool to be a part of. And from there I got to go on to the National Youth League panel after that. So it happened pretty quick. That was 99. So, and then I got pretty engrossed in it, yeah.
It's changed a lot since then. But what's the process like now? Is it it's not as time consuming if you want to progress up the ranks?
You've got to want it. But there's definitely opportunities now at every CCF, Football New South Wales, Football Australia, where age isn't a barrier, especially if you're young and upcoming. You've got to put the work in, but the opportunities will be given to you. I very much remember a time when I was starting out, and especially when under the old state league, where it was very hard to progress through. The top panel were all people my age now, and you sort of had to wait for them to go. Now it's a matter of if you've got the talent, you'll be given an opportunity, and they're there, and you may as well grab it.
And you mentioned you've been an NPL referee now for 15 years. What's it take to referee at that level?
It's funny because in some ways it gets easier.
Yeah.
Because you have such structured play and talented players that just want to play. They're not going to, a tiny shirt pull doesn't stop them. They've got the skill. They want to keep going. So you get some aspects like that. You definitely get some strong personalities as well. So there's a bit more there that you got to manage, but it's obviously fast. It's obviously very talented. And we're under a bit of, it's a lot more, accountability now. It's streamed.
Yeah, every game.
Yeah, we can come off at halftime and people are showing us videos of you got this
that
wrong.
You got wrong, yeah.
Yeah. So having the camera on every game starts to become a little bit more something as well you've got to factor in.
Yeah, I've always found that interesting because players are going to make mistakes every game, but referees make one mistake and that's all people seem to remember from a fixture. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they are just human, right?
Yeah, 100%. No referee gets everything right. I found it actually easier when I told a player I think I got that last one wrong.
Yeah.
And he went, wow.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you just said you got it wrong. Yeah, mate, like I got that free kick wrong, mate. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he patted me on the back and we moved on. And I still will do that if I have. I think being being able to communicate and be honest about some things along the way does help. But yeah, there's a bit of you're getting watched a lot.
And with those strong personalities, is there much communication throughout the game with them, or do you try and sort of keep to yourself throughout the 90 minutes?
No, I need to talk. I need to talk to these players. I need players, I think, and coaches deserve to know if I've given a penalty or not a penalty, like big key decision. Why? And I've got some good relationships with some captains where I'll come and give you the answer when I come near you.
Yep.
Or I'll seek them out. I go, mate, I didn't give a penalty. They just came sire on, and that was body to body contact. That's how I saw it. And they'll go, well, thanks at least for the answer. I don't think we can say just go away. I think if I get the best chance to communicate, and same with a player that's getting a bit frazzled through the game and being a bit silly, if I can chat to him on the run, I'd prefer to do that than have to card him or send him off, because that's not what we really want.
Yeah, and even obviously players and coaches, but as someone who's played in Sydney, even when I was younger, there was a certain place you don't want to go just because of the parents and spectators.
Yeah.
It can get very hostile.
Yep.
What's sort of the most hostile environment you've ever refereed in, do you think?
Under the NYL, we used to do the NYL was a proper reserve grade of the NSL back then. So we got to do the game before first grade. And back when Northern Spirit played at North Sydney Oval, we were on. Player had a terrible challenge. I think it was Spirit and Sydney United. And player had his leg broken really, really bad. It wasn't that they were angry at us. The player who did it was sent off. But at North Sydney Oval is obviously an oval with the football ground in the middle. And we could see as we were coming off, there were flares and all sorts of things being fired. The NSL was marred by a bit of flare and bad behaviour for a while. But the problem with North Sydney Oval is that when you get to the fence, the tunnel is down a set of stairs. So we knew as we came off the field we were okay, and we had to wait there while the stuff was being thrown. But we had to get down those stairs, and then everything came over the top because players had to come down those stairs too. So it was pretty hairy going down.
How long ago was that?
That was when Spirit was still going. That was probably about 2000, 2001.
Okay, quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Do you think it's changed much these days? It's with obviously being streamed, everything's on camera. Do you think that's keeps people accountable?
A little bit. There's still times. I feel like being a first grade referee, I get a bit lucky because I can go down to some games and they've got security guards that come out and walk off with us, so I'm a bit sheltered from it. Having seen some of the youth stuff that I've got and helped with, I find that some of those guys. I remember doing a line here for Apia Mariners under 13. I was helping out the young referee, and this was a couple of years ago, but the coach was really hard on his players as well. And I was like, this is a bit, because they're pretty young. No one deserved it. They got to enjoy it. Right?
Yeah. Especially at that age.
It wasn't at the referees, but it was as much, but it was it was pretty heavy. Yeah.
Now, stepping out of the sort of NPL aspect more to grassroots, what do you think the biggest differences are between a high level NPL game and here on the Central Coast?
Definitely when you come out of things like stadium, when you get to a park football ground, there's different factors that come into it. There's some grounds, with you get a bit of a shade and the black lines, and all of a sudden the line's hard to see. Like that stuff, I don't sort of factor in. I get sort of spoiled, and I get nice change rooms and stuff like that. So some of that, the facility side of stuff can be a bit of a change. And speed changes, but it's also relevant. I think we see a big change when we put games on here, obviously at Plume, and I've seen games up at Budgewoi when the facilities are NPL standard. You see the players, it's the same players, same ball, but it picks up the speed and it changes the game a bit.
How many Ks are you running in an NPL game as a referee?
Probably shouldn't say it too loud. I just did a game at Belmore on the weekend. I did just over 10 Ks. There's younger, fitter guys than me that can do a bit more than that. But there's also an amount where you do too much.
Yeah.
If you're suddenly pumping out 15 kilometres, you've got a positioning problem. You're chasing the play. You've got to have an aspect where you're reading the game.
What do you think skill-wise to take that next step is the main difference between sort of grassroots and NPL?
As a referee?
Yeah.
Definitely reading the play. You've got to... And you almost, as I say, you almost get a little bit spoiled. And I'll include our grade at grassroots where there's a lot of good structured play. You've got players and coaches here on the coast in grade that in some ways would hold their own in NPL because CCF's a region more than just a local branch
Yep.
in that regard. So there is some strength in the structure and the play, but also communication. Like referees need to be communicating for sure, and that's a skill that needs to flow into the grassroots as well.
At NPL level, you obviously commed up pretty heavily where you do see it more now on the Central Coast, but what's that addition of comms been like to you as a referee over the last few years? It seems to be getting more popular.
Yeah, we run a lot of comms kits here too. It's increased the training we've had to do in it, but it's really mean that as referees, rather than being the solo guy in the middle with a couple of guys with flags, the whole crew are now involved in the game, and it keeps the people who are on the sideline with, as part of your crew. They've got different characteristics that they're watching and involved in, and they can take over parts of workload, and likewise I can as well. And it keeps our communication up, and it keeps our coverage of the game up as well. What are we covering? Where are we looking? What are we doing? And sometimes it also just keeps us switched on.
Now, speaking more about the correlation between referee and player, do you have any sort of game rituals pre-game or any superstitions that you do?
I have to have a banana.
Yeah.
And a lot of people pick on me because I'll have 2 Nurofen and half a tube of deep heat.
It's an interesting one.
But that's probably relevant to my age.
And
when I was younger, it used to be a meat pie, hot chips, and a bottle of Coke.
They're a bit heavy these days.
Yeah.
And as a referee, do you know when you've made a mistake straight away?
Absolutely. I can feel it in myself. I can feel it sometimes in the response going, the game didn't expect that. And then I start questioning, have I done that right or wrong? And it may be a throw in, right? Where you go, I've just given the throw in that way. And that player was already going, the green guy was already going to it, and I've given it against them. And I've gone my gut feeling afterwards, that wasn't right. And as I said, sometimes we're lucky enough to go in at half time, and I've had an assistant referee pull out their phone and put on YouTube and go, Danny, I think you got it wrong, and put it away now.
How do you sort of reset after you've made a mistake like that?
My tactic is, especially if it's in the game, I go, look, I think I've just made that error. My focus now is the rest of the game, though. It's not a matter of we go tit for tat and have to make it up. I can't. It's an error, and if we get through the game with that one error, then we worry about fixing that one after with what training, what have I got wrong, why have I got it wrong. But what I do is I look at my watch and I go 33 minutes to go. We start again now. Refocus for that 33 minutes if that's what it is, and go, righto, it's a clean slate. Let's try because I don't want the game to spiral from there with mistakes. So it's just a refocus to get us through to the end.
Now, I'm sure players will let you know as soon as you've made a mistake. But on the other side, is there one rule that players and even fans consistently get wrong?
Probably everyone gets handball wrong.
Yeah.
Because
it seems to be a law that changes quite a lot too.
100%. There was probably about 5 years ago, it was pretty much deleted and rewritten from start. So if you haven't reread it, you don't know it. And a lot of that comes down to interpretation. The other one that is massive is you'll have a player on the ground with the ball and he'll kick it, and people will yell out, that's playing on the ball on the ground. And it's never, ever been a rule. And I don't know why they do.
Where it's come from.
Yeah, and but all my career, I've told players that's never been lying on the ground and kicking the ball. You can do it.
On to life at CCF. You've been with us for 4 years, I believe now.
Yeah.
Your role is obviously developing referees here on the Central Coast. What exactly does that involve?
It's sort of twofold. My little baby's the RDP, Referee Development Panel, where I get our young and upcoming referees who are generally teenagers, and we just intensify their training. And they come in, they do sessions. They're normally split. We do theory with video, and then we do half of it, which will be outside, which could be drills, fitness. When I started, that sort of core group have now got everything out of it. And I'm pretty proud of that because a lot of those kids have moved on now to the point where they're either doing first grade or they're on the cusp of first grade. Like, we've created this career path for these guys. I also look after the grade referees, which is pretty intensive with the video and the feedback and stuff for them. And obviously the education of all our referees, especially with rule changes and common traits. We will run seminars monthly to keep them up to date and to try and just improve refereeing standards across the board.
Yeah, and speaking more on the RDP, if the certain referee wants to progress further than just local first grade on the coast, what sort of avenues do we have for them?
Yeah, we can support them. Coast is in a position where, for example, when the Mariners or CCU play here, Football New South Wales quite often just come to us to appoint them because it's not practical to send lots of
Referees,
people from Sydney.
yeah, referees up.
There's also opportunities where I'll be blunt. I was meant to do CCU last week and I was sick. I had to pull out, and one of our local guys who was on the line went in the middle. Football New South Wales said, "Are we happy to put him?" I said, "Absolutely," and
Yep.
he got his. So right place, right time also helps.
And now you assess a lot of grade games, a lot of video review. What does that entail?
Basically, I watch endless video of VO.
Yep.
It's a golden tool to us because I can use it. We have a bank of over 1,000 video clips. Luke's very generous at clipping them for me because he's the computer guy. But we can use them for training and education along for everyone. But I'll generally assess a referee in person, which I do like to do because I get a better feel for the game. If I can't physically be there, I watch it through the whole game and I'll note down points, key incidents, positioning issues, maybe right or wrong, credits where credit's due, and also where things we need to work on, and we will clip them for them. And we always make sure the assessments are out before the next week, so they get it within the week. So if they've got to fix something, they've got a chance to do it for their next game. Yeah.
And what do you make of the standard of refereeing on the coast, just through the board, from could be an under 13s game all the way to first grade?
We have some very good quality refereeing, and I think the standard has definitely been picking up. And that's credit to our referees. We have a very engaged branch of referees. I'll quite often get a referee message me on a Sunday night or Saturday night. They'll say, "I think I got this wrong," and if we've got the video, well, they'll want us to look at it. But it could be a referee who did the All Age 5 on the weekend saying, "This is my scenario. What do you think?" I think the fact that they're willing to be open and honest and be prepared to be told you got it wrong. And I think we need to be vulnerable as referees to learn. I think everyone needs to be, right? You can't just sit there and go, "I get everything right," because it's not going to work.
And you mentioned Luke, who does our appointments, does a great job. He's been appointed 100% of games the last 2 years, which is incredible. We've never seen that before. How do you think referees changed in the last 4 years since you first got involved in CCF to now? I feel like from the outside in, the community's never been closer. Season launch, end of season, it just seems like a big community that people are buying into, and it's just getting better and better every year.
Definitely is. I've been involved in other branches over different periods of time. And one thing that really struck me here was the culture of it is very positive. It's a place where you get supported and it's not out there to pick on people that are doing the wrong thing. It's about supporting the people doing the right thing. The coverage thing is great. Like where we really like, there's no branches that have done 100% coverage for weeks, let alone years. So what we have though is if we are going to be short one or two and the note goes out, it's the amount of people that put their hand up. And I'm talking, we could have an under 14s game, and I've seen a first grade referee put their hand up to go and do it. Like the fact that people are quite willing to just, I'm not too good for anything. Everyone's willing to just put their hand up, and it's a mammoth team. Yeah.
Yeah. And testament to Luke, 100% coverage is really incredible. I think people take it for granted almost now because we have done it for the last 2 years.
Yeah. It is definitely absolutely a great effort to be able to do something like that. And it's well and truly Luke's baby.
Especially you think the last few years with all the rain, having to reschedule games an hour or two before kickoff and still finding referees. I mean, I don't know how Luke does it, but he finds a way, and that's also a testament to the referees.
He's rescheduled games, I know, at 5 a.m. on a Sunday and had a referee there at 8 o'clock, and I don't know how you do that.
Now, one thing we do every week is we reach out to our followers to ask for some questions.
Sure.
We let them know you were coming on, and we got quite a good feedback. So there's a few questions here. The first one, what is the funniest red card you have ever given out?
Funniest. It was funny and sad. A few years ago, I did a relegation. It's a home and away relegation at Football New South Wales, and I was doing the first leg, and the team that was trying to win to come up scored in the 88th minute. They went up 2-1, and the player was celebrating. He was running across the other side of the field. His teammates were chasing him as hard as they possibly could because he took his shirt off. He jumped into the crowd. I had to caution him. It was his second yellow card. I had to send him off. They still had the away leg to play the next week, and he was their striker.
Yeah.
So whilst I didn't take great pride in that, but I had to do it.
The rules are the rules.
But just seeing his team chase him, yelling out, "No, stop, stop, stop."
Don't do it.
Because he thought he just scored the winner. He didn't factor in the other one. That was probably the funniest.
And what's the highest scoring game you've ever been involved in?
We have the Oz Cup. I did it at one of the early rounds, and sometimes you get some mixed matches there. And I definitely did one that was at like 23. I think they got one.
Okay.
Down, yeah.
Wasn't a clean sheet?
No, I think it was a 23-1, and the crowd went berserk for the one, but it was a late Wednesday night, yeah.
Now, we might have to bleep this, but what's the best/worst name you've ever been called on the field?
Best, I had a player call me Dad. I thought it was quite funny. An adult player called me Dad. I don't know why. Worst, I don't think I could say it without enough beeping, but I remember getting to an age in my 20s going, I don't think there is anything I haven't been called at this point. Like, yeah, there's nothing I haven't
hear it all.
Yeah, I've heard it all. And to be honest, when you're in the middle of the field, you don't necessarily make it all out. You just can tell by the tone whether people like you or not.
Yeah. And now, what is your biggest pet peeve of players?
Pet peeve of players, probably, and I touched on it before that, playing the ball on the ground. Like when I'm having to communicate about a ruling that's not a ruling, like this is wasting sort of time and energy and effort. Let's not whinge about that. Let's whinge about the proper stuff, you know. So some of those sort of things, like just that playing the ball on the ground just annoys me to not a rule.
Yeah. And last one, is there a certain team, coach, player on the Central Coast that has the worst reputation amongst Central Coast referees?
No, they're all good. We have a really good reputation with our relationship with our clubs. We really encourage. We're one of these referee branches that's not a shut door in our referee department. We encourage you to communicate with us, and we have some clubs that do that because we may not know someone's struggling or has struggled on a game, but if they can reach out, and we have a lot of clubs do it in the right way in that regard, then it makes it a lot easier for us to deal with rather than us having to deal with it. We don't want it, going through the wrong channels with send-offs and all the incident reports.
Escalating more than it should.
Yeah, just communicate with us and communicate in that sort of open way, and we can, with cool heads, and we can work out what's going on, because there may be a referee suffering and we need that sort of to help them.
And now if someone's interested in getting into refereeing, why should they become a referee?
Number of reasons. You can get paid. I've never done it for the money, but you can. You can get paid. It's tax-free money. It's listed as a hobby. So it's in your skyrocket, you get paid within a week. You can quite often referee. It's quite flexible. It's when you can or can't do. You can do a Sunday only, a Saturday morning. And if you play, it can be structured around that. I found it great. I was, as a teenager, quite a quiet individual, quite reserved, and I found it my way of being able to get my personality out and being able to deal as you moved up, deal with adults, and it's worked quite well in the workplace. I've extended that to definitely in conflict management and managing people. I found it really, really good for life skills as I've gone on.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of reasons for young players to get involved. Obviously, staying fit, they get to create their own roster, basically earn money. But I think even for the older players who maybe can't play anymore, still want to be involved in the game, I think we're crying out for more senior referees. So
yeah, we normally get a lot of youth, and the youth turn over relatively quick because life also happens. They go to school, go to uni. What is gold to us is that senior referee, because they've also got a football brain already. I can put them through a referee course so quickly because I don't have to teach them what an offside is. They've been playing it.
They've been around the game for so many years.
They can, and I remember when I was down at Northwest Sydney, one of our best Premier League goalkeepers became a referee, and he just it just flowed naturally to him, and he referees in the Premier League down there and has done some Football New South Wales stuff. But you've already got a football brain. Don't let it go to waste. And those sort of guys are gold to us because they can also cover a lot of games, and yeah, we can really utilise them.
Yeah, especially for our all-age teams.
Yeah, yeah.
But what advice would you give to any young referees?
You got to put in some effort into it. You can't just turn up and walk away. As hard as it is, you've got to communicate. You've got to talk to people on the field, and it's a bit harder when you're young, I know. But once you start, like, no one's going to chip you for it. You'll be known as the person that talks to us and communicates. If you're at CCF, come to the RDP, put your hand up, get involved. There's a pathway well and truly for you, and you'll be supported all the way. And if you have a bad day, we've got people within our referees department. You reach out. If you've had a bad day that day, just reach out and we can direct it. We've got everyone knows Wayne Young with our referees department, and he's fantastic with supporting anyone.
He's incredible.
Yeah. And he's just a great shoulder to lean on when you need to. So yeah, we've got someone like him is just gold to us as well.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time. It's been great to sort of get some insight from a top-level referee and to learn more about all the great things we're doing here on the Central Coast.
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Before we wrap this episode up, let's take a look at the 2026 Association Cup semi-finals coming up this weekend at Plume Park. We've got a massive matchups across both our men's and women's competitions, with spots on the line in the grand final. All the action takes place this Sunday, kicking off with our men's reserve grade at 11 a.m, followed by men's first grade semi-finals at 1. In first grade, we got the Group B table toppers, Berkeleyville, taking on Division 1 side Avoca over on Plume 1. At the same time on Plume 3, it's a 2025 grand final rematch. Southern and Edelong go head-to-head with Budgewoi for the first time in 2026. Plume 3 will then host the final 2 matches of the day as our women's first grade takes centre stage. Camel and East Gosford kick things off at 3 p.m, followed by Killarney and Terrigal at 5 p.m, with both matches defining who books a place in the grand final. The bar will be open all day, so make sure you get down to Plume Park and watch the action. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Coast Football Weekly. Please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and leave a rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'll catch you next week for another episode.